What happens when the world's most obsessive filmmaker picks up a story that's been told for 3,000 years? Christopher Nolan has spent his entire career playing with time, memory, and reality. But this time he's chosen something else: Homer's Odyssey. And critics around the world, after watching it, have ended up split into two camps. Today we're talking about the Odyssey. Whether this film is really as towering as its scale suggests, or whether it's just an expensive spectacle. First, a few essentials. The Odyssey was written and directed by Christopher Nolan himself, and produced by him alongside his wife and longtime creative partner, Emma Thomas, through their production company Syncope. The lead cast includes Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, Zendaya, and Charlize Theron. An ensemble you're unlikely to see assembled like this again. The runtime clocks in at around 2 hours and 52 minutes, and it's rated R, meaning this isn't a family film. It has graphic moments of war and violence. As for budget, this is the most expensive film of Nolan's career, at $250 million, shot entirely on IMAX 70mm film. So what was the return on that investment? At the box office, this film has been an outright explosion. On its opening weekend, it made $124.5 million in North America and crossed $264 million worldwide in that very first weekend. Nolan's biggest global opening ever, surpassing even The Dark Knight Rises. Audiences gave it an A grade on CinemaScore, a strong sign that people are walking out of theaters happy. It held steady into its second weekend too, and trade analysts are projecting it to finish somewhere around $400 million domestically. Meaning this film hasn't just won over critics, it's won over audiences as well. The story itself is simple, but the ambition behind it is something else. Matt Damon's Odysseus tries to make his way home to Ithaca after winning the Trojan War. But along the way he runs into the Cyclops, the Sirens, and a nymph named Calypso, who wants to keep him for herself forever. Back home, his wife Penelope, played by Anne Hathaway, is fending off a swarm of suitors, while their son Telemachus sets out to find his missing father. This isn't just an adventure. It's the story of a man returning from war who isn't the same person on the inside anymore. Now let's talk about the thing Nolan is famous for: scale. The entire film was shot on IMAX 70mm film cameras, making it the most expensive production of Nolan's career at roughly $250 million, from the deserts of Morocco to the black sand beaches of Iceland, from ancient ruins in Greece to castles in Scotland. This film shot across 7 countries around the world. And that shows clearly on screen. Critics keep saying the same thing again and again. This film's camera work and scale are simply beyond what any other filmmaker can pull off. Right now, the film is scoring above 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, and most critics have called it a majestic, primal experience. A film that fuses myth with raw human emotion. A review on Roger Ebert's website called it a sophisticated and mighty epic. One that explores the power of storytelling itself, how stories can break us apart and bring us together at once. Even a conservative outlet like Plugged In praised Nolan for holding back on gratuitous violence this time, portraying Odysseus as a haunted man, weighed down by guilt rather than a show-off hero. But it isn't praise all around. Time magazine's review was fairly harsh. They wrote that instead of being a source of hope for cinema, this film became just another reason for despair, and that even before release, it had generated more anxiety than actual anticipation. Forbes's review was mixed too. Bold and visually stunning, yes, but with a few flaws that can't be ignored. And then there's the controversy. Some scenes were shot in Dakhla, a city in Western Sahara under Moroccan occupation, which drew accusations from the UN-recognized Polisario Front and several Sahrawi human rights activists that the production was normalizing colonialism. Historians also called out Matt Damon's costume as historically inaccurate, particularly his plumed Corinthian helmet, which doesn't match the kind of armor Odysseus would have actually worn in that era. So the real question is the Odyssey a masterpiece, or just a grand-scale gamble? The truth is, when you put all the world's reviews side by side, the majority clearly leans one way. A 95+% critics score, and a cinema score, and this kind of box office response. That's not just hype, that's a genuine widespread reaction that Nolan has pulled it off again. And that's my own take on it too. When this many different voices, critics all the way to everyday audiences, are all saying the same thing, that the film is emotionally powerful, visually massive, and that Odysseus is portrayed as a human being rather than just a hero, that's a sign Nolan has actually kept his ambition under control this time. Time's harsh criticism shouldn't be brushed aside either. Their point that big-budget spectacles these days can sometimes collapse under their own grandeur is a fair concern that comes with every epic film. But when audiences are paying out of their own pockets to go back a second time, as several reports have noted, that tells you this isn't just something critics liked in isolation. It's a film that has actually reached ordinary viewers. If you can catch this in IMAX 70mm, it's an experience you might not get again. Either way, let me know in the comments. Does this rank among Nolan's best work? Or is it just an overambitious epic?